Hello and welcome to this 9th Producer's Notes for DCS Black Shark. In this note, we're going to be taking a look at what we call the game mode of DCS Black Shark. Now, this is a comparison to simulation mode, which is what we've been looking at in all the previous notes so far. Now, in simulation mode, the primary focus is on the most accurate and detailed emulation of the Ka-50 attack helicopter. In game mode, however, what we're doing is providing many different options to make the game more analogous to that of a console arcade game. Now, within the option screen, you can mix and match various features of the game to create the most realistic or the most arcade game experience that you want. These can include flight dynamics, weapon systems, sensor systems, invulnerability, unlimited fuel and ammo, and the list goes on. It's really up to you to decide how you want to mix and match those to create the gameplay style that you're most comfortable with. Now, the default view when in the game mode is the chase cam behind the aircraft, which we see here. But if you like, you can also go to the cockpit view, which you see here as well. But for now, we'll go ahead and we'll keep it in the chase cam view. Some additional symbology is displayed on the screen now. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have the weapon field. At the top of the field are 4 circles, and these represents the 4 weapon stations on the helicopter. A green circle represents loaded, and a red indicates unloaded. In the middle line, we have the name of the currently selected weapon. In this case, we have the Vickers missile selected, but we can go ahead and cycle that from missiles to cannon high explosive, cannon armor piercing, and rockets. And you notice on the bottom line, we have the number of rounds remaining for that selected weapon type. Now, in the top right-hand corner, we have what we call the Easy Radar. And this displays a wealth of information. It's from a top-down perspective with our aircraft depicted in the center. The blue and white dots are valid airfields you can land on. And you'll notice that there's an array of both green and red icons. The green icons represent friendly units, and the red icons represent the hostile units. You also see a green circle on display, and that represents your current waypoint. Along the periphery of the display is a north arrow, and always at the top of the display is a green chevron, which indicates your current heading. At the very bottom of the display is your current radar range. Right now we have it selected to 10 kilometers, but we can go ahead and increase that to 20 and all the way out to 50. And bring it back to 10, and then down to 5, and down to 1. But for now, we'll go ahead and we'll keep it at a 10-kilometer range. And I also notice out in the world, we have the same icons represented that we saw on the Easy Radar. And those indicate anywhere from armored ground units depicted as diamonds to air defense vehicles with the horizontal line with the vertical arrow. And these depict all the different enemy and friendly forces out there. Now in front of our aircraft, we have 2 additional icons here now. We have a dash reticle, and that represents where our Schwall sensor is currently looking. And then we have a closed, smaller circle, which represents the bore sight of our currently selected weapon. Now, just like in simulation mode, if I want, I can go ahead and bring up the Schwall, uncaging it, and now I can move the Schwall camera around just like I did before. And go ahead and lock him up, lock up the target, and you notice I now have the Schwall sensor display up on the top left-hand corner. Get rid of that. Now, if you don't want to go through the trouble of manually using the sensor, we also have the auto lock modes, where you can lock up the closest target towards the center, or you can go the next, the previous, or the closest. In this case, we have some targets out here in front of us. We'll go ahead and do center of display, and we have a target locked. Now you notice also with the target lock, we have a reticle around that target with an unwinding bar that indicates range, and there's a small little circle in the bottom left-hand corner which represents the maximum range. And as you can see, that line is within that little circle, indicating we're within valid range to shoot the missile. And below you see a flashing shoot cue, also indicating that. So we can go ahead and press the trigger button and fire a missile. And just like in simulation mode, we can go ahead and increase the zoom or decrease the zoom on the camera as well. And I can go ahead and I can start cycling targets using my easy radar lock. Previous. And nearest. So that is an overview of the game mode within Black Shark, and I hope you enjoyed this note. Thank you.